All right, welcome back to episode 18 of Off the Rails with Tone and Jems. With us this week, we have a very special guest, World Series of Poker main event winner from 2003, 2019 Poker Hall of Fame inductee. I'm sure there's a bunch of other things, but it's Chris Moneymaker.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Great.
How's it going?
Doing awesome. Just trying to keep away from people during the COVID period and play a lot of online poker. Getting back into those roots. I turned into a live poker player for so many years after Black Friday happened in the online gaming space. But now that we've had sort of quarantine for a year and a half, I'm playing a lot of online again.
Is online poker coming back more, I guess, legally now? Because I play online sometimes too, but I know it's a little different.
Well, Poker Stars back in the day when I was representing them, they were not technically legal. It was a gray area market. And I'm representing a site now, America's Card Room, is the same exact thing that Poker Stars was back in the day. They accept Bitcoin. You're never going to get in trouble for playing online poker. It's really a banking issue. And
right.
So you can play on America's Card Room perfectly fine. It's not a big deal. And it's actually, it reminds me a lot of what Poker Stars was back in the day. Now, if you do live in certain states, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Michigan, Nevada, you can play on the legalized regulated sites. And that's going to be Poker Stars and WSOP, I think Party Poker are the three main sites. I think Michigan just opened up and they have like 10 poker rooms or something. But if you're not in one of those states, then you have to go with a different option. And that's what America's Card Room is right now. And have a lot of great tournaments. We got a series going on right now with buy-ins ranging from $100 up to $2,500 this weekend. We have some big $600 tournaments coming up soon, another $2,500 coming up next month. And then, every day we have tournaments ranging from a penny up to, $5,000.
Nice.
Is there a mobile app for that too, or is it all desktop?
There is a mobile app. We're still developing it. The desktop is the best way to go right now. I mean, you can get on a mobile app and play. It's more going to be the blitz pool and things like that. You're not going to be able to play the tournaments on the mobile app yet. That's the one thing I'm really pushing them to get moving on is the mobile app, because it's what everybody, the world we live in, everybody wants the mobile apps.
Right. I mean, I sit in a crane for 12 hours at work right now. So we were playing on my Poker 2, I think was the app we were using this summer when we were playing.
Oh yeah. You're using the app. So.
Oh yeah. It was all like Venmo and stuff.
Yep.
But it was nice to play at work when I'm like sitting in a crane. So I've had plenty of time to play hands while lifting things.
Get all the downtime.
That sounds real safe. I like that. I'm sitting in a crane lifting stuff, playing online poker.
I'm basically just a danger to myself in the crane, but I am dumping like 500,000 pounds of iron. So I mean, there's a little bit of gray area there, but
I didn't see you walking over there. I was in the middle of a hand. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sure there's some safety warnings. Don't walk out when Jems is in the crane. Probably just on the
I got
door.
a siren.
It's probably company wide known that if Jim's in the crane, just don't go out there.
Yeah, he got a little bumper sticker on his thing. Like if Jems is in the crane, don't go walking. A little bit of how me and Jems met. So we've never actually met in person. Me and Jems met on the internet. So obviously you guys roots in the internet with the tournaments and stuff like that. I find it, I guess like I've always known I'm not as big of a gambler. My dad played blackjack all growing up. So I did that, but online gambling, I've never really done other than till recently with like sports betting and stuff like that. Big DFS player, but everybody kind of knows about the Moneymaker effect, which they attribute to obviously esports and DFS and stuff like that. But how me and Jems met was through a love of podcasts, certain podcasts. And one of those is Pat McAfee show. I don't know if you know who Pat McAfee is. But have you heard a story about his $100 poker tournament that got him into college, basically?
No, I haven't heard that one.
So he describes it on his show, and he actually says, in the height of the Moneymaker era, basically Chris Moneymaker made poker, all these poker games pop up, and I took $100, turned it into, I think it was like almost $2,000 in the CD back room in like Pennsylvania. And he was able to buy a ticket down to Florida, and he did a really good job at this kicking camp and got his scholarship. And had it not been for really you popularizing poker in that crazy way, maybe me and Jems don't even have this podcast. So
butterfly effect. You're welcome, guys. or I'm sorry, depending upon how you feel about doing all the editing.
Nah, we love it. We love it. We actually just started a podcast network, actually, with a couple buddies called the Iron Ostrich Podcast Network. So we're pretty pumped about it. We love the podcasting.
Awesome. It's great.
Yeah. So
Are you a big sport? Do you do sports betting too, or is it?
I do basically anything that you can put money on. I basically do. If there's a way to either make money, lose money, yeah, I do it. I'm sports betting, DFS. Just got into Topshot, which is NFT stuff, online poker, crypto. Yeah, basically anything that you can go straight into the vein to do something.
That NFT stuff is crazy to me. Was that what you were gonna say, Jems?
Is that the Topshot?
Yeah.
That I just got into it last week, and I went pretty much balls deep. I just put in a lot of money, and it's insane. I look at it like I'm looking at my oh good lord, get off my sorry, I've got Facebook going crazy. Anyway, so yeah, I got into it last week, and I just put a ton of money into it. And you look at your value of your account, and it's just skyrocketing right now with Topshot. How much it's going up? It's been really, it's been going up a lot more than Bitcoin, which is really cool. So it's a new space. I'm learning more about it. There's a new one coming out. I just got into Street Fighter, and there's another one coming out on March 3rd that I'm looking to get into. So I mean, I think it's the future of collectibles. I mean, with how we're going with the internet and stuff. Not having when we were growing up, we all had baseball cards and stickers and all these things you put in books and try to keep them all from bending and everything like this. You don't have to do that with this stuff, and maybe it's just the way to go. I try to be young and try to keep hip all this stuff, and I've got a lot of friends who are like, man, I can't believe you're paying $50,000 for a piece of air that you can watch on YouTube. I mean, some of these top shots are going for that.
Yeah, it's crazy because I was actually looking at it, and because I do I do graphics and all that kind of stuff, and my brother's actually an actual obviously old school artist. He does he uses paint markers and all that kind of stuff, and creates these beautiful works. And I was just looking into it for him and stuff like that, being able to create non-fungible asset, non-fungible whatever tokens, whatever art, and it's crazy. So I just watched a bunch of YouTube clips on it. It's wild. I mean, the
one that's coming up is March 3rd is an art one. So yeah. It's guys that did The Hobbit and a couple other movies. They're coming out with
nice.
Aliens and monkeys and all this stuff. I don't know. It seems like it's a pretty cool art one, but yeah, there's definitely some good art ones out there. I think you can go to Crypto Slam or something, and it tells you what all the different NFTs there are. I learned all this week, so it's all new to me.
I just find it fascinating because, like you said, it takes me back to that card roots. Literally, my brother sent me some graded cards I have on my desk for my birthday because that's how we just grew up with that kind of stuff. So that's what it feels like, and it's such a cool space. But I've never heard the word NFT until about 3 days ago, and I've heard it 700 times since.
Same exact thing. I honestly haven't heard it one time in my life. Literally this week, I've heard Topshot. I've never heard Topshot before. I hear it every day now.
I saw it 6 months ago. I was gonna say I saw it 6 months ago, and I was like, it's a little cube that turns around, and then someone was like, they paid $44,000 for it, and I was like, is fake money $44,000?
I wish I would have seen that 6 months ago. My account would be bonkers right now.
Yeah, it was wild though, but they're cool. They're way cool, and I'm like, okay,
they're not that cool. I literally, as we're trying to get on here, I just sold one for $12,500. It just blows my mind. I don't get it.
Yeah, was that Anthony Davis? I think was it an Anthony Davis card or
no?
picture?
This one was the Jeremiah Grant his jersey number. I paid $7,900 for it 4 days ago and just sold it for $12,500.
That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, I bought two Kawhi Leonards. I sold one of them for a challenge, and I paid $7,000 for the Kawhi Leonard and sold it for $23,000 3 days later.
Jeez.
I mean,
it's going bonkers though.
That is crazy.
It is nuts, and there's a big Harden challenge, so we're going to get a cool Harden card that's going to be worth probably $100,000.
Wow.
Because just only gonna be like 40 people to get it. So yeah,
that's the cool thing is like the limit. There's like a limited. Like I actually looked to try to figure out how to like make them, and like you obviously pay in. It's like called a gas charge or something like that, gas fee, and you can make it, and it changes daily from what I gather. But like so, I could say I just took a screenshot of what we have right now, and I just made that into a card. You could do that, I guess, apparently, and then you could make it limited to like 1 to like 1,000, and depending on how you want it, it's wild. It's like making your own cards.
It's really like if you've seen CryptoPunk, like I have no idea how. I mean, I think it's rigged. I don't think people are actually paying like $300,000 for this CryptoPunk thing. It makes no logical sense to me. Again, I want a card that I can touch, feel, and break or whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, that's 45 years old and we're used to that stuff. I'm just trying to change with the times.
Apparently, those are starting to come back now too, though, aren't they? The trading cards. It seems like there's a huge market for those again, which is nice because I've had shoe boxes full for the last 25 years.
Yeah, but you have shoe boxes of crap cards because I have those. It's mass produced. They're coming back now because they figured out that you can't just put out 50,000 cards and make it worthwhile. You got to have limited runs and put special things in there. And I'm actually invested in a company recently where they're going to start grading cards and buying them when they're doing all these breaks. Or they buy them on the spot, and you don't have to ship them through YouTube not YouTube, but
eBay.
eBay, yeah, you got to go through eBay, pay the 20% fee, and all this mess. Taking all that time. So
they did. Upper Deck did that with like the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, just like overproduced it, and I watched the whole documentary on Netflix or Amazon on it.
They did that to like every card. I remember I had like a Dale Murphy rookie. It was worth like $100 when I was like 18 years old. I thought I was rich. I thought it was awesome. The Beckett books they had that tell you how much every card was worth. That was my pride and joy. And little did I know how little $100 was back then, but whatever.
That's the wild part too. Is like when I was young, I was like, this card's worth like $25, and you're like, as an adult, I'm like $25. It's like
I've got so many Top Shots that are $25. I might just give them away. No use for them. They open up the packs are $25. I'm like, it's more effort to sell it than it is to try to just gift it.
Yeah, right. It's wild. You never know that one of those will just somehow like people will be like somehow find a way to throw Top Shots away, and like then there will only be like 5 of them or something. I don't know. Who knows anymore?
Yeah, there's no telling. I mean, maybe there's something where they like. I'm hoping like Street Fighter, they just came out with some. I'm hoping they're going to fight and maybe condense the number size down to fewer and fewer, so they get more valuable. I don't know.
Yeah,
it just came out last week. Yeah, it came out last week. So hopefully they do something. I heard Topshot was going to do some kind of game where you use your players. That would be cool.
That's way cool. Yeah. Speaking of Street Fighter, I had listened to a podcast with you on it. You used to play a lot of video games, right?
I used to play a ton of video games, mostly Madden and Tech Mobile and any sports games.
That's me. Yes. That's why I was like, you were like, yeah, I play. I think you were talking about playing Fortnite with your son or something like that. And but you were like, yeah, Madden is more my. That's me. I'm all the games. The sports games. Any other are like the shooting games. I'm like this. I'm like staring at the ceiling. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I'm terrible at those games.
My 10-year-old son he destroys me now. He plays it all the time, and he just likes to. He gets one-on-one where you do these playground things, and he just kills me nonstop and giggles and laughs. It's just the coolest thing ever because I stink. Yeah, I can't even shoot him anymore. He's so good.
I don't think I've had like a Xbox or PlayStation in like probably 7 or 8 years now. But when I used to try to play Call of Duty, I was so bad. It just I was good at Madden and the show and stuff, but I've always been in the sports game too. I can't.
I think if you're good at the sports games, you're not good at the first shooter because I don't know anybody that's good at both. But yeah, I was always good at sports too. But first person shooters, no,
not so much my speed. That takes me back to my. It's funny. I really haven't played a lot of video games recently, but the Street Fighter one really dinged me because it was the first time I remember like taking almost like, I guess, like reminiscent to like being an amateur and winning a giant poker tournament. I played Street Fighter. They had the actual like joystick ones. You had to go to the gas station play, and I had like 3 quarters on there. And I was like 8, and I was using Vega, and I was like smashing everybody. And then this one dude spent like, no joke, like probably like 2 rolls of quarters just trying to beat me in front of his girlfriend. He was like 22, and I was just like 8-year-old just stomping him. Like it was like one of my best memories. I was like,
I remember those days. Yep, we would go to putt and play all the time.
oh yeah.
So, are you, after COVID, are you going to go back to playing live poker, or are you going to try to be mostly online now?
Well, I left PokerStars to join America's Card Room, and they're an online site, so I can play from home. I haven't been able to play from home after Black Friday happened, where they basically cleaned out all the online sites. So I haven't been able to play online in like 10 years, and now I'm finally able to play online again. I'm having success doing that. I can sit here from the comfort of my home. I can go watch my kids play soccer and, be part of their lives and not being on the road 75-80% of the time. So my plans to stay here, stream some poker, play a little bit more live. I'm also going to be traveling, but just not near as much. We're going to have events down in Costa Rica. We'll have some events here in the U.S. I'm sure we'll have some international events, but we're going to have other ambassadors go out for those. I'm not traveling internationally much anymore. It just takes too much out of you sitting in the planes and everything else. So, but I will still play live.
Is there a Twitch market? Is that like you streaming playing? Like,
there's a huge Twitch market in poker. Yeah, it's not. Well, it's not. Huge is not the right word. There's a big market. It's not like League of Legends or anything like that, but it's probably 5th or 6th biggest Twitch market game out there. I mean, you can stream in front of 20,000, 30,000 people. I think is one of the bigger ones that has happened. Whenever you make a deep run, you can get a good following. I haven't done it enough to really have a following when I stream. I'll get 200 or 300 people watching, but I stream literally like once every year, and because I have to be out of the country to stream. Before I could not stream unless I was in Europe or Brazil or some other country. And when I was streaming off a laptop with terrible quality. It was just a nightmare. So now again, with I got a new setup coming in. I've got new, they brought all kinds of stuff that I've never even heard of, tweet decks and all kinds of mess that, they're going to actually send someone to my house to set it all up because I can't even do it. I mean, hell, we couldn't even get this podcast going off there. 30 minutes, 3 guys sitting here trying to figure out how to work a microphone.
So I was going to say, so it's kind of funny because one of the questions I did want to ask you was, in hearing, like, in researching, obviously going back to your story, is you would play a lot of online poker before you obviously won the World Series of Poker. Back then, like how, like I mean I'm 37, so we're pretty close in age, but like how much different was that back then? How many like the internet was so much smaller, even though it was still the internet, but was it hard to find games, or was it like was there a big presence there already?
It wasn't a big presence. It was definitely hard to find games. It wasn't. The games were a lot smaller, but my bankroll was a lot smaller, so it worked. The biggest game was 510. And if I had 2,000 in my account, I was rolling. I was, high rolling. There just wasn't a ton of people on there. I mean, if you won 12,000, then you were probably one of the better ones on the site, like one of the top guys. And it didn't start changing until after I won, therefore the Moneymaker effect. And that's when everything sort of took off. And I mean, now, playing 200, 400 PLO on a random Tuesday night. I mean, it's amazing how things have changed. And I mean, they didn't even have those games back then. Again, the top game you could even play was 510 no limit.
Wow.
200, 400. Are you playing that right now?
Not at the present time, but yeah, I play quite a bit.
He's winning a tournament as he's doing the podcast, just like, no big deal, just playing.
When you're a professional, you can multitask.
That's true. Fair
yeah,
enough.
You normally can, but I've got Topshot going over here. I got my Facebook. I'm trying, and it took me long enough to get this, and I've got a plate full of food. I'm trying to eat dinner too, so I'm just waiting on that though.
I totally understand that. So the one thing that did catch me is I heard you talking. It was on a video. So I play a lot of DFS, so I can kind of sort of relate. But like the tournament you entered to get you to the World Series of Poker, you said on this video, you wouldn't have even entered had you known it wasn't a cash out tournament.
Right. Yeah. Back then,
I'm the same way because I do it with DFS. I'm like, I want cash. I don't want the satellite to win them $2 million later.
I don't want to go. You don't want to go play against CSU Ram and all these guys. Yeah. Whatever. I can't remember all the good players anymore. I don't play as much, but you're playing 50-50s and the tournaments for cash. And I wouldn't. And back then, how the lobbies were set up, it was hard to tell what was satellite and and it didn't go off very often. So whenever you saw one that was like 8 of 9 or 15 of 16, you just click enter. And I got into it, and it was a satellite, which really pissed me off.
That's pretty crazy. Good coincidence, though, right?
Yeah, pretty good mistake.
Was Poker Stars your favorite to play back then, or were you hopping around between that and Party Poker and whatever? Phil Hellmuth had one too, didn't he?
He had Ultimate Bet. They actually ended up blowing a lot of money and did some bad things. I played Paradise Poker way back in the day. I don't even know if they're around anymore. Played a little bit of Party, played a little bit of Full Tilt, and then became a pro at Poker Stars and played there for 17 years. And then this year I left Poker Stars to join America's Card Room, and I've been playing there for the last 2 years. And it's been great. It's nice to be back playing online again and having that ability to do it from home. So
that's the best part, right? I would assume we're both dads, so we totally. My daughter's come in twice already just to ask me questions, basically, during this podcast. So being around and being present for the kids, I know is a really a massive thing for us. I know that's what we do. Jems had a crying baby in his arm like 3 minutes before you showed up. So it's is that something that like you've always wanted to prioritize? Because I know as dads sometimes like I feel this way is like I do invest my time in other things, but a lot of those other things are like you said, like things that I can make money at doing to better, for the what's the line for you? Like, where's the, like, do you have a hard time being like, I'm doing this, but I'm doing it for your future? Like
everything I do is geared towards setting them up for, college and stuff like that. So, they've got their college fund, they've got everything set up for them already. And now, I don't want to say I don't have to work, but I kind of do it on the off chance. Like, I don't know what poker is going to happen. What's going to happen in poker in 10 years or 5 years from now? Like right now I'm working and playing and doing all these different things, but poker is such a unique space. It's not like I have a 9-to-5 job where they open up the door, I go into work and they pay me and that's it. I don't know if I'm going to have a job 5 years from now. And if I do, everybody's getting better at poker all the time. I don't know if I'm going to be good enough to continue to play 10 years from now. So, why I have an edge and why I can make money, I need to be making money. And so at one point I can go sit on the beach and retire and have my kids taken care of. That's always been a thing for me is it's not so much that I need the money right now. It's the uncertainty of what I do that drives me to keep hungry and looking for new opportunities. I got into DFS for a little while, found out I can't make money in it. I suck. I can't do it. I paid for, so many different sites to try to give me lineups and to give me advice. And I'm just terrible. I don't have the knack for the DFS. So I learned just to, basically throw away a couple $100 every Sunday on the big $1 million one to try to bank that. And then outside of that, just give up your dream of being a DFS grinder. But I will say DFS took up, even though I paid for lineups and did all that stuff, it takes up so much of your time. I mean, I would spend 6 hours a day doing DFS stuff, and I didn't do any of the work. Everyone else was doing the work, but I had to fill up. You know how it is. I mean, it is a very time consuming hobby, and if you're not being profitable at it, it's time to move on.
DFS is like sort of similar to poker in the way that like they have the cash games where it's the like half the lineups cash or whatever, and then they have the tournaments with the big payout, which is. Well, I think the most people that are making money doing DFS are just playing cash the entire time. They'll maybe throw 1 or 2 lineups in the big one, but
I tried to play cash for a long time, and I guess I was entering the big cash games and trying to do the 500s, and I didn't do the but even if you do the the $5 ones, the ones that are doing the 500 they're doing every damn one of them. So you're playing the same guys.
Right.
Obviously, you're throwing some more in the mix, but and again, I don't know. I just never got into it enough to where I was making any money at it to really make it worth my time. And again, I probably put 30,000 into trying to figure it out and try to be profitable in it. And I just figured out I suck. You can't be good at everything.
No, that is true.
Are there some other poker players, do you know, that are? I forget who it was that was pretty big.
Sam and Old does really well. Hole and Goal, or not Hole and Goal. What's his name now? He's really big into it. He's one of he's put out a challenge that basically $1 million. He'd play anybody, and he'd give you something. Golly,
that's wild.
He used to be a poker player, but he's one of the best DFS players out there now. I can't believe I can't remember his name right now, but he plays on every site, and again, he's offered any person, any sport. He'll put up your $1 million versus like his 1.5 million or something over a certain number of games.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I'm a nerd about it. So like I built my own like optimizer and stuff. Like and like it's wild. I'm like I got nerdy with it. So I enjoy it. Me and Jems, a lot of our conversation, if it's not about podcasts, we're building like lineups and shit or like talk.
Do you play all the sports?
Play a lot of them. I play football, baseball, basketball, NASCAR. WNBA is actually where I make a ton of money. I'm a huge WNBA fan, so I feel like I have an edge. I know the players a little bit more, so I crush at it. So it's like,
hey, you know what? Whatever you make money.
Yeah. So there's money to be made. I mean, I'll take it. So those are my big ones. Those are my big. I think I know a couple people that play golf. I've never done super well with the golf, so I just kind of passed on the golf. But yeah, all the other ones I'm pretty good at.
Nice. Well, yeah. I'm not even gonna try to get back into it. So
I take it where I can.
Yeah.
And it might just be because it's like a dead time for sports right now, mostly. But I enjoy the NASCAR DFS quite a bit. Like we got into it last year, right before COVID started, and we were doing decent, and then COVID shut everything down. And then by the time it picked back up, I don't know. I just didn't do it again.
We were all over the place on it. Yeah, it's crazy though. But same thing. Like you said, there's like a thrill in it too, which I assume is probably the same sitting at a poker game. I do find it like it's that same video I was talking about. The World Series of Poker was your first live game.
First live event. Yep. Never played. I'd played live cash before, like down in Tunica, Mississippi, which is close to where I live. But never played a live tournament before. I'd played online tournaments, but never a live tournament. So, the thought of going out there and playing against all these super pros was really daunting. And, it was tough. 7-8 day tournament playing against the best in the world.
That one video I was watching that was like kind of recapping the 2003 tournament. It was day 2 or 3, and you got placed at the table with Johnny Chan.
Yeah, I just watched the movie Rounders. He's considered the best poker player, the perfect poker player, and he's sitting right on my left, which is the worst. If you play poker, that's like the worst spot to be especially for a good opponent to be. So I went into the day, first day on a TV table, first day playing with Johnny Chan. He's right on my left. Just a nightmare scenario until I get a really good hand and bust him, and gives me a lot of confidence to move forward and continue playing. If I can beat him, I can beat anybody.
Was Phil Ivey at that table too? And then you met him up again toward the final table?
But Phil Ivey wasn't Phil Ivey back then. Phil Ivey was just some random young kid like me. I mean, I didn't know who Phil Ivey was. He was a young kid with a bunch of chips. That's all I saw. And honestly, like poker was so different back then because the average age of a poker player was like 55. The average weight was they was like me, 265, 55 years old, whatever. I'm the average poker player back then. And the young kids were the ones that were the internet players that were considered bad players or second-class players. So those are the ones I targeted. But you fast forward now it's the old guys that aren't very good. All the young guys are really good at poker. So it's really flip-flopped over the years. Everybody today is using game theory and playing perfect poker. Where back then we were just we didn't know what we were doing. We're just betting hands, and so you have ace king and just going with it.
Now does that affect where you say, like, obviously people use game theory and stuff like that, because that's the same thing that relates kind of to DFS sort of is that something that comes in with the Moneymaker effect, or is that something obviously more people influx of people coming in? Like, is there a certain person that's kind of like started really like breaking down the game in a certain way that changed the game? Because I'm sure if like me and Jems and you are at a table, I don't know the sport as well as Jems probably. You're definitely an expert, obviously. So are we harder to play than somebody who's already playing at a certain game theory level? Or like does it matter, or like just on predictability of it? Or
let's put it this way. If us three were sit down and play poker tonight,
yeah,
you guys might beat me tonight. But if we sit down and we play poker every single night for the next month, doesn't matter how lucky you get, I'm going to take all your money. I'm going to win eventually, because it's just the better player is always going to win in poker and cash game setting over a period of time. And it's probably the same way with DFS. The DFS players are always going to win in the long term playing cash. But the same thing in poker. I mean, I'm just going to it's math, it's instincts, it's everything that makes a good poker player I have, and you guys just don't. You haven't put the work in. So
yeah, for sure.
Over time, you're just going to go broke.
I guess that's the other thing that I wanted to bring up. So it's like, I feel like because I was just freshly, I think I was like 20. I think it was 21 the year you won the World Series of Poker, and just watching it and remembering it, like the narrative was like, amateur comes in, all Chucks wins, but you just said like math, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure people in the industry obviously know, but people who just know Chris Moneymaker, World Series of Poker champion, might not know you have a master's degree in accounting. So you're obviously pretty good with numbers.
Yeah, I mean, numbers come pretty easy to me, but I mean, honestly, poker math's not really that hard. Quick tutorial on poker math. If you're trying to figure out how many outs you have, all you got to do is count the number of outs. So if you're on a flush draw, there's 13 hearts in the deck. You have 2 in your hand. There's 2 on the board. So you need 9 more to go, right?
Oh, okay.
9 cards that can help you. So to figure out your equity in the hand, if you're on the flop, you take that 9, multiply it by 4, you're 36% chance to win the hand. If you're on the turn, you have 1 more card to come, you multiply it by 2, you have 18% chance to win. So you use that simple math, and then you figure out pot odds, and then that'll dictate how you play on the math side of things. It's really not that hard.
I just watched, I didn't even know it existed before, but I watched that Shark Cage that you were on, like, I don't know, 5 years ago. Was that kind of fun, like playing like with that different aspect of I know Sergio got you, but
yeah, no, it was awesome. Sergio's the greatest, dude. He's an insane person, and he caught me in a hand and put me in the Shark Cage. It was just a fun experience. Yeah, I mean, there's some other TV shows back then, The Big Game and a couple others that they're just made for TV. They were really fun. It wasn't as serious as like the World Series of Poker or Poker After Dark, High Stakes Poker, things like that.
I remember watching that Poker After Dark, and people are just throwing like stacks of cash in. They've out of bid chips, and then just whip out like $100,000 brick.
Well, that's when poker was great. Everybody was making money. I mean, but there was about a 10-year period where, I mean, literally, I could teach you how to play poker in 2 or 3 hours. Send you down to a casino. You would sit there, and I would guarantee you would make money in the game because people were so bad. It's not that way anymore, but for 10 years, people were just printing money. It was, if you couldn't make money in poker from like 03 to 13, then you probably never need to be playing the game anyways.
Do you still play the main event every year? I know last year was last year online?
Last year was online. I didn't play it last year. Last year was the first year I didn't play. I've played every year except for last year, and we'll see what happens this year. I don't think I'll play this year. I'm imagining they're probably going to have it live, and they're probably going to have some kind of COVID vaccine requirement or something, would be my guess. I have no idea. There still hasn't been a ton of poker tournaments. I know there's been a few in Florida and a couple in like Texas, but I don't have any plans to travel until, one, I get a vaccine. I'm not the slimmest of guys anymore. I'm a little bit up there in age, so I'm not in the best category for getting COVID. So I'm trying to avoid people.
I'm actually getting the first dose on Friday.
Oh, congratulations!
Thanks. Good. could have signed up for it a while back, and then I was like, let me see what happens to other people first, and then now I'm just like, you know what, screw it.
In Mississippi, I live in Mississippi. I can get it whenever I want. I mean, I can go and get it. But again, I'm going to wait and see what happens to everybody else, and then, again, we get all these different strains coming around. Is it going to prevent against those? I'm happy sitting in my house. I can sit in my house for the next year. I've got everything I need. I'm good. The only reason we get out, we were trying to schedule this interview, and I never leave the house unless it's for my kids. My kids have basketball, volleyball, soccer, softball. They're doing all kinds of sports. So I take, me and my wife, we run 3 kids 3 different ways all the time. But outside of that, we don't do anything else. So
it's the same with us. If it's not the kids or having to go to work, we're at home 95% of the time. So
yeah, I try to stay home, but with work, and then I'm also a volunteer fireman, so I end up being out more than I should be. But
that's great. You're a volunteer fireman, but you're in the crane. No one's bothering you. I mean,
right? We had a huge fight at work about keeping people out of our crane too. That was a wild scenario at work. But yeah, I got a buddy who I don't think you can call him a professional, but his living is he plays poker. So I guess maybe a professional. But
that's a professional if you make your living playing it.
Okay. He played on that. He played with us a little bit this summer on the app when everything was shut down, and just destroyed on there every time he played. He just like shooting fish in a barrel. But last time I talked to him, he was in Maryland playing. Apparently card rooms are open there. And then I just was talking to him today, and now he's in Houston.
Yeah, so, Houston's got a lot of good clubs, and Maryland, they've got Maryland Live, and they've got a couple of big ones there. So yeah, I mean, there's rooms that are open. There are people playing. I mean, there's poker going on 20 minutes from my house. There's a good home game that happened the other day. I'm just choosing not to play them. I mean, poker players are nasty fuckers anyways. So when you add COVID on top of it, yeah, that's just not going to happen.
So I definitely wanted to kind of circle back too. So obviously we're talking about the pandemic going on and kind of like the slowdown and maybe even what brought you back to online playing. So I was reading somewhere that I guess another tragedy that happened, obviously September 11th, kind of shut down the world travel wise for a while there. And your job at the time, you were traveling accountant, I guess, and that's kind of what got you into playing the online games, which ended up kind of leading to your draw to the World Series of Poker. Does it feel sort of reminiscent of that time? Does it feel like kind of you're coming back into playing online? And
well, I mean, back then it was obviously a lot different. I mean, obviously 9/11 sucked, but it was only shut down for a short period of time. The bad thing is my whole division got let go with the company I worked for. So for me personally, it was more of a tragedy. But they were traveling again, like 2 or 3 days later.
Okay.
Or obviously this year, I mean, it's been just a nightmare of a year. I mean, I guess we're traveling now. I don't even know I don't know if you can leave the U.S. and go to some countries still. I think you still can't.
I would assume not. Yeah, I'd assume there's probably still shut down.
I think the U.S. is like the worst country in the world dealing with the virus. So they just want to keep us out.
Fair enough. I put my daughter on a plane like 4 times a year, 4 times a year to go visit her mom across the country, and it's a little nerve wracking.
I would just have to tell my ex, you're gonna have to get here. I don't know. We're not putting anybody on a plane right now.
We did it the first 2 trips, and we were like, I guess you can. Hey, it's wild, but it's multiple masks. It's almost buying an extra seat every time to make sure there's space and all that fun. Yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely a world changer, So,
well, I would imagine I would say the planes are pretty dead, but I've seen pictures where they're not. They're jam packed.
Yeah, the lucky thing for us is since you have to pay extra, obviously, for like a minor to travel or whatever for us. So she actually gets extra space, which is nice, which is amazing. But obviously, she's also being followed by people who are around people all day. So who knows what the offset is there?
The flight attendants, are coming in checking on her all the time.
Yeah, so it's crazy, but it's a wild world.
It is. It's always changing, and that's again, you got to make the money while you can and do what you can. I mean, you want to provide for your kids, and I mean, so for example, like my kids have tournaments this coming up weekend, and on Saturday I'm going to take the day off, go watch them play soccer, go watch the tournaments. But on Sunday, when we have a $2,500 buy-in event, I'm going to be playing that event. I mean, that's how I kind of balance. If it's a big event on the site that I'm sponsored on, then I'm definitely going to be playing that event. If it's something else, just a random Saturday, then I'll be spending the day with the kids.
With the sponsorship, do they like require you to play? Or are they just like, Chris, we need you to play X amount of tournaments or be visible on a table this many days a week or hours or anything like that?
I'm a unicorn in a lot of ways when it comes to sponsorships. They don't ask me to do anything. I don't have anything in my contract that I have to do. But I just do things because I feel like I want to work and I want to do things.
Right.
But like I could literally just sit here on my hands and do nothing all day. I mean, literally not do another interview, not do anything. And I would have an ambassador role, for however many years. I just don't operate that way. I get bored. I feel like if you're paying me this money, I'm going to go out and be proactive and do the work. But that's also why I've been an ambassador for 17 years, 18 years, because I do this on my own. I mean, you guys reached out to me. I set this interview up on my own. It's not like, someone said, hey, you got to go do this interview or, my old job, I would have interviews that were lined up for me periodically. But with this new company, basically they're like, just do whatever you want to do. Go do you. And, I told them I wanted to stream, so they got me everything that I needed to stream. They're setting me up with everything that I could ever want. They got an artist drawing me up stuff for my overlays and for subscribers and stuff. I get a ton of support, but I don't have to do anything. Like I was talking to the owner today, and he's like, so there's a big 2,500 event. So I said, should you mean to stream that this weekend, or do you mean wait till I get the setup done? He's like, no, just wait. And he's like, if you want, man, just start one day a week or something. Just do it small. Don't kill yourself. I'm like, I can work more than one day a week. I'll be all right.
Yeah, it's crazy. So do you bring? I guess that is, I think is nowadays it seems like you have more people who are like they want to go to the top so fast that it's like they lose all of that back. Like I'm a hard worker. Jems is a hard worker. We put in work. Obviously, we both. I have a side job. He does 3,000 things. We're both busy, but we find time to do this, and we like to work. We're both like workers, and we like to achieve things, and so I feel like the newer generation kind of loses that a little bit because they want to go straight to the top, and it's like that baseline of like I'm going to work even when I don't have to. I think is like how people get ahead, and obviously, clearly, it's worked for you.
Well, I mean, what you see the thing, if you want to be a millionaire, work like you're one. I don't even know what the saying is, but there's some kind of saying you got to work to get there. Essentially, you can't just wake up and I've got younger friends that want to be be paid manager positions and work for not do any work.
Yeah.
They definitely serve a lot of entitled people that feel like they deserve something. So. But there's a lot of different people that work hard and they don't make any money either. So
that is true.
There's a lot of people that they work 50 times harder than I ever dreamed of working, and they make no money. It's just you got to make sure you're focusing your hard work in the right direction. That's going to be profitable. You don't want to work hard for someone else. Try to find something for yourself.
Definitely, yeah. I'm all for that. That's kind of like I said, we just launched this podcast network, and we're like, let's put the work in. We're obviously podcasts are getting bigger and bigger, and we kind of have all this background of like doing them. So it's like, why not do them? And we're having people adding different podcasts very frequently, which is real cool. Just on these people that are like, I always wanted to do one, but I don't know how any of the back end works. So it's like. It's really, really cool to bring that to them too, because then you see them work hard and really you can help them with what you can do. So it's really cool.
Yep.
With the streaming for is it America's Card Room? Is that what it's?
Yep.
Are there other ambassadors like that you could stream with? I don't know.
Yeah. There's we have a team of ambassadors think right now we have, I want to say 7 of us. And then we have a whole slew of, they call them stormtroopers, where they're just affiliate type. They stream and they're affiliates, and so there's definitely a lot of people I can coordinate with and work with and stream with, and they have home games. I'm going to have home games, and we're in group chats and we discuss different ideas. We're about ready to come out with a brand new promotion that's going to be basically, well, I can't really say too much about it yet. So we're going to make an announcement about it soon. But it's going to be a really cool thing. We're going to be basically giving someone a chance to be a team pro and change someone's lives, which is going to be really cool.
That's way cool. That's super awesome. Is it now having listened to you on a few different things, that seems like something that you really take pride in, is like I know on one podcast you were saying something about how you'll play a game and like when people are like, man, like I'm playing with Chris Moneymaker, like you're like, that like that's going to be like a cool highlight for them to go tell friends and all that kind of stuff. Like, and so you embrace it and stuff. Is that something that you do like strategically? Like you're like, hey, I know I'm going to sit down at this table and I'm going to be the big fish in the small pond, but like, if they want to, take a picture or whatever, we're cool. Like, is that something that you try to like remember, like being on the other side? Like,
well, I think it's just my personality overall. I just think that's, it doesn't really, I don't have to like work at it. It's not something I have to strategically do. I know that without saying bad, I'm a kind of a big deal in poker. So like when I play, people want to bust me, people want to play with me, they want to engage with me. And I appreciate that. I like having fans. I like, I've never been a social guy. I was always more of the, in the background, didn't really, I had friends, but like I wasn't like the cool guy, whatever. So, I like being in with people in a close space, but I don't like a ton of people. Like if it makes sense, like 9 people, it's good. But like I don't like public speaking. I don't like having, when I do the, some corporate events that have like 100 people getting up in front. Anxiety level super high, not for me. But I can entertain 8 people and give them an experience and everybody have a good time. So yeah, whenever I go, it's not really conscious effort. It's just me being me. I want everybody to have a good time. But at the end of the day, all my sponsors that I've worked with, part of the deal that I always want to do is I set aside some part of my salary for a charity. And then I also, part of the thing is anytime we do something, I want to be able to give someone an opportunity to change their life.
That's so cool.
We had, with Poker Stars, we had the PSBC where we gave away 340 $25,000 buy-in seats.
Wow.
With ACR, we're going to be giving away $175,000 to $150,000 yearly contracts for people to play in ways that actually people can win. So, I mean, there's going to be different avenues that, people can win these opportunities. But that's what I want. I want to give other people the chance to do what I do, which is sit around on my ass and do nothing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome with the give back. And you have a Chicago.
We're having a tournament actually this weekend. I guess, this is going to come out after that. But hold on, let me go to my Facebook here because that's where it's a Chicago Lighthouse. They have a lot of critical programs for blind and visually impaired people. And the veteran community. So what we're doing is we're having a poker tournament. It's a virtual poker tournament, so you can sit at the comfort of your house and register and play in that. And we're going to have a Zoom room, so I'm going to be on Zoom interacting with people, rubbing it in their face when I bluff them, and all kinds of fun stuff. And there's also going to be other poker players like Greg Raymer. I know there's other ones that are slipping my mind right now, but it's going to be a fun night. It's going to be something that if you're a poker fan, or you just like to have a good time, you definitely want to come check it out. You can go to, let me give you the address here, lighthousepoker.com to find out more information about the tournament and come play with us.
That's way awesome. That's so cool.
That's awesome. Linda Johnson and Lexi Gavin are the other.
There you go. There you go. Linda Johnson and Lexi Gavin. Yeah, they're going to hate me when I get in there. They see it, they're going to bust my chops for not remembering. The only reason I knew Greg was playing it because he texted me today and we talked about it. So that's my defense.
Do you have a lot of friends in the poker world that you talk to about?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, constant, again, I was trying to get Greg into NFTs today. I was like, man, you got to get into these NFTs. Like, no, man, I don't do that stuff. I'm too old. I'm like, all right, whatever.
You didn't tell him I just sold the Jermani Grant for like $5,000 profit.
I told him, he's like, I'm happy for you, but that's just not me. He said every time I invest in something, it just goes to hell. I'm like,
tell him to stay out then. Hey,
Yeah,
never mind, Greg.
Yeah, don't come in. Yeah, tell him to stay out if it's going to crap.
I don't believe in that stuff. I mean, I don't. I want everybody to. That's. I want him to. There's another one coming out in March. I want him to get in and get on the. I mean, the packs are like $88, whatever. Buy 10 of them and spend $800. If they go up, great. If not, you're out $800. Yeah, at the end of the world.
Yeah.
And for him, maybe for some, obviously, but he can afford $800 and just give it a shot.
I was say I've spent $800 on worse things.
Yeah, for sure.
I know, for God's sake, I have.
Is there like an exclusive, like, if you see another like Joe Hatcham or somebody else that has won the main event, is it like, do you guys talk about that, or is it like not like an exclusive club where you guys don't let anybody else in, but like, is it need to be around other? Huh?
No one else comes in. It's just us. It's a cool kids club. No, back in the day, like me, Joe, and Greg Rammer, Joe Hash, we traveled around Europe together. We were all three Poker Stars pros at the same time. We came and our families got to know each other. We became really close friends. So we had a really cool club. And then as people started winning more and more, that club sort of fell apart. Like we would go out and we would try to meet a couple of the others, and we were the only ones that had families, and we're kind of in the same vibe, the same direction in their life.
Right.
And so we remained friends. I talked to a couple other world champions, not a whole lot. It's more, hey, can I get some money on this side? Or, hey, can you want to play fantasy football? Do you want to, whatever it is, we'll have different things, or, like there's a coaching something going on, or there's an appearance that we're making. So yeah, you definitely run across a lot of people because it's a small industry. So, every day I'm talking to a different poker pro, but it's all very dependent on what it is.
That's it's super cool. It's cool when there's like a tight knit of like, there's only so many professional poker players in the world, so it's like
I mean, basically all you got to do is quit your job and you're a professional poker player.
Oh, that's true. That's fair.
There's only so many people that have had that main event bracelet.
Yeah.
There's only so many people that do it full time that have been in it for a very long time and have the longevity and the reputation and the name, and because in the poker world, like lending and borrowing money is a huge thing. It's really the lifeblood of poker. If you're out at an event and you go bust, you might need to borrow $10,000. You got to have a really good name to do that. You can't just be some random guy. You got to have a good reputation that's built up over time. So, I mean, a lot of my interactions with poker players, like, hey, I'm in Florida. Do you know someone down here who can give me $20,000? And so, make a phone call, try to get someone $20,000. And, same thing if I'm somewhere and I'm in Europe or whatever. It's like, hey, do you know someone that can, give me euros or, things like that. So it's, it's not obviously near as big now because of COVID. I mean, but again, usually when I would go to Europe, I would always have someone give me euros when I got over there, so I didn't travel with them and have to do all that mess.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because you don't want to probably travel with that kind of cash on you for sure.
No.
Speaking of that, this is the one. It's a stupid question. So this podcast is called Off the Rails for a reason. We've actually kept it pretty on the rails this time, but that iconic picture of you with the stack of cash, I'm gonna know that probably the answer. You don't leave with that cash. That's not the cash you leave with, right?
You can. Yeah.
Okay.
Sam Farhall, the guy that got second place.
Yeah.
He took $1.1 million in a cardboard box out into the limo and got in the limo with my dad and went back to the Bellagio. And then he went and played with it.
You say your dad and Sam Farhall left?
Yep, they shared a limo together back to the Bellagio. I went to the strip club. My dad went back with.
Can I at least get like 10,000 of this in once? Like,
I got 15,000, and we spent so much money. I had to call Huck Seed, who's another professional poker player, to bring me 10,000 more. It was a good night.
You're like, I'm good for it. I'm good for it.
Yeah, I'm good for it. He knew who I was, so he's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
4:00 in the morning, he's running up $10,000 in cash to a strip club.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Did you ever permanently live in Vegas, or have you always been in the
No, always been in Tennessee, Mississippi area. Never wanted to live in Vegas. I've got enough crutches and enough vices that I don't need to be in Vegas. I don't need to have all that going on. I'm happy where I'm at. I don't need the constant lure, the constant lights. If I want to get there, I can be there in 4 hours. If I want to play poker, I can be in a casino in 20 minutes if I want to be. So, I mean, poker's everywhere now. So it's easy to find a game.
So you said Tennessee, and so the other thing that I have written down on my list, I'm starting to run out of questions, or at least good ones.
If you mention the Vols, I'm leaving. I'm hanging up. Don't even do it.
No, not. I was going to ask you about their performance. I was going to ask you about your time there, though. You said you lived in the same building as Peyton Manning. Any good Peyton Manning stories?
The only good Peyton Manning story is when I first moved in. We kind of thought it was Peyton Manning. We weren't sure. There was a guy in the bushes eating a cheeseburger, trying to hide from everybody. So we pulled up and bothered him. Of course, we're kind of probably drunk at this point. Who knows? We're in college. Hey, are you Peyton Manning? He turns around, eating the bushes, goes like this, and turns back around, and starts eating again. And that was about the extent of the funny stuff. I mean, other than that, just a normal guy. He probably couldn't pick me from Adam. I've heard through other people he knows who I am now.
Yeah.
After winning the World Series, but no, I mean, he would, even though he lived the floor beneath me, he wouldn't be able to pick me out of a lineup back in college. I mean, we didn't run in the same circles. Let's put it that way. I mean, we would cross each other every once in a while, leaving the building. I'd say, "Hey, what's up?" And he'd wave, and that would be about the extent of our longest conversation we ever had. Hey, are you Peyton Manning? While he's hiding in the bushes,
eating a cheeseburger.
I mean, I assume it's a cheeseburger. I didn't get that close to look, but yeah, that was my guess.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Is there the moneymaker effect is obviously a huge thing in the poker world. It obviously applies to a bunch of other things like we talked about earlier. Is there anything you would change? Like, has anything bad came from winning I know
the only bad thing that ever came from winning was the complacency that I had for about 5 or 6 years, where the second tournament I played, I ended up getting second place. So I just thought I was really good at poker. Like I'm just a natural. I don't need to study. I don't need to really work at my game. And so I just got overconfident and got complacent, didn't study, didn't work at it. And I fell behind everybody and got to a point where I just wasn't very good. And I blamed it a lot on bad luck. I was telling bad beat stories, like that was my job, and no one wants to hear that shit. So it took me a while to realize that, I'm just missing something. I'm not as good. So if there's anything negative, it would be that I didn't spend enough time working on my game. But other than that, no, I couldn't be happier with everything that, I've got literally the perfect life. It's kind of sick. So
that's awesome.
I can't complain.
Yeah, that's what we all strive for.
Right.
I do have another weird off the wall question. So like magicians, they carry around card decks with them all the time. Obviously you're a poker player. There's multiple decks that go into playing. Do you carry a card deck with you, or do you have cards with you ever? I always wondered that. And I'm like, if you're on the plane, like figuring out the actual touch and feel. I'm a tactile person. So like, I'd like to actually touch things. So
I haven't touched a deck of cards in a year and a half.
Oh, damn.
I haven't played live, but I would never travel with cards. No, I'm going to the game. The dealers deal the cards. I just look at them. I don't have any desire to touch. Now, the one thing I do miss is I when you play with chips, I riffle chips all the time.
Yeah.
I haven't done that in over a year, so I don't even know if I can riffle chips anymore. It'll be weird if I will say that I have carpal tunnel from doing it so much.
Oh, dang.
Literally 12 hours a day of doing this all day long, just riffling chips up and down for 12 hours. And I haven't done that in a year. So my wrist is a lot better now, actually.
Great. Do you or other poker players, do they review tape? Like with so much game on film now, is that something part of people's games?
I don't. Dan Negreanu says he does. I don't know how much he actually does it. The problem with reviewing film is it's not like the camera's always on you. The camera's moving and catching different parts of different hands. So when you're playing poker, it's really about, one, it's about the math and it's about the situation. It's about knowing people's ranges. If you're trying to look for actual film on people and to pick up tells and stuff, it's really about getting close into their face and looking for micro expressions. And that the camera's just not going to catch up on that stuff. So, I mean, the only reason I think you would ever look at film is just to see if someone is playing suboptimally. They're not playing the proper ranges in certain positions. So, like during the World Series, when they're on a 30-minute tape delay, they'll have a team of poker players that are sitting behind, watching everything 30 minutes on delay, and on break, you'll run over to your team and discuss, hey, this guy bluffed you in this spot. This guy's not, he's not playing his hands properly. He's not c-betting enough. He's not calling enough c-bets. Whatever it is, they're going to give you advice in that period of time, and you hire these coaches before the main event final table. But outside of that, no, I don't think there's a whole lot of tape study. I mean, there's a lot of studying of online hands and philosophies, but there's no actual watching, actual video of people playing that much.
That's I wasn't sure how that would work because now like everybody knows I guess it's not every hand because they only show certain TV tables and they cut out a lot of hands and stuff, but you can't get away with the bluff anymore if it's good because they're going to eventually find out about it.
Yeah, they find out about it, but the thing is poker is such a dynamic and ever-changing sport that you don't really bluff in the same spot every time, and you don't bluff the same opponents every time. Like there might be opponents like I would pull a move on because I know that they're scared money or they don't want to bust, or another opponent that doesn't know any better, and I would never bluff him. I would always bluff you, but I would never bluff him. Same exact hand, same exact situation. Two different opponents, so I would play the hands differently. So even though you might know what I did in a situation, I might do something completely different against you based on everything that I know about you as a person, and that just comes from simple observation. So again, you might see everything that I've done in the past, but that's not going to apply to what we're doing today.
That makes sense.
It might give you an indication of my tendencies, like, no, I bluff too much, or maybe I c-bet too much, or I give up on the turn too much. I call down too light sometimes. You can pick up tendencies like that. But even then, I mean, for myself especially, I change my game so much based on the players I'm playing against that, yeah, it would be kind of pointless.
You mentioned Daniel Negreanu. He's considered one of the best to ever do it. Who's do you have a top few guys that you think are the best that you've played against, and kind of like you see him at your table and you're like, oh shit?
Eric Seidel's probably the one guy that if I see him at my table, I just cuss. It's like, fuck, get out of here, Eric. Leave me alone. He beat me 3 years in a row in NBC Heads Up. He just, every tournament I see him at, he just somehow gets to my table and busts me. He just irritates the shit out of me. So he's a hell of a player, and I hate him. But he's the one guy. He's the one guy. If he sits at my table, I just want to unregister from the tournament and say it's not fair.
That's funny.
Was it championship with the Heads Up 3 years in a row?
Yep. He beat me in the round of 32. He beat me in the round of 8 or 16. I can't remember. I think it was maybe 16. And then the next year, I'm like, all right, I don't have to face him. He's on the entire other bracket. He beat me in the finals.
That's wild.
Yeah, really.
That was a cool setup too. I liked watching the Heads Up tournament.
I love that. I wish they would still have that. That was my favorite term of the year. I love Heads Up, and it was such a fun format. It was just great. And I remember going into playing the finals against him. I told my buddy I was out there with, I was like, I'm just going to get hammered and try to go play him this way, because he can obviously beat me he's beat me twice. He beat me the third round. I started drinking, and I just started hammering shots going into the fourth round. And it's like, if he beats me again, he just beats me, and he beat me. So he's just better than me.
You just hold your bracelet up. I don't know if he's won.
Yeah, I think he's won them. Is that? I don't even know. I know he got second. To Johnny Chan, but he had a year about 4 years ago where he won like 25 million or something, just crazy. He just went off and just destroyed it for a year. So I don't know how much he won, but he won a lot.
That's super great. Before you got on, I was actually asking Jems. I was like, I wonder what like the range is of how much you win if you like have like a Tiger Woods like dominant like run in a year. I wonder like, so
10 million to 20 million.
Crazy.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But how much did you buy in for? Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
How much did you lose?
I was gonna say I think I am out of questions, Jim. Are you out of questions? I'm sure you have more, but the only other question I had was sort of similar was like people ask the dinner for 5 question, like if you have 5 people to dinner, if you could play invite 5 people to play a game of poker, any 5 people in the world, doesn't matter if they play or not, just like you'd want to sit at a table with
Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Mark Cuban.
Bezos?
No, it doesn't do it for me. Probably a Peyton Manning, just being the sports guy. He's kind of the guy, and I guess Michael Jordan.
That's a good table. That's a good table.
Yeah, I thought you were just naming like billionaires that you could take their money.
Well, there's always that. It's funny. Like Bill Gates, he plays poker, but like he only plays like 3-6 limit. Like he plays like the cheapest poker known to mankind. And I've never actually played with him. I just heard that, like, yeah, Bill Gates is here playing 3-6 limit. You can lose like $20 or $80 or whatever.
That's crazy. That's that's like you probably are losing more just playing the game and not actually working at that point if you're Bill Gates, probably.
Oh, for sure he is, without question.
That's wild.
So I guess all that I have left is, do you like what's your favorite sport other than poker?
Well, I like all sport. I mean, if I had to rank them, it'd be football first, probably UFC, then basketball, then basically anything but hockey and NASCAR. Those are the last 2 that I can't watch.
Being a football fan, I know obviously the Vols, but are you a Titans fan?
I'm a fantasy football fan first. So whoever's on my fantasy team, but fantasy's ruined pro football for everybody that plays DFS or fantasy. So, obviously I got to root for whoever's on my team first.
Yeah.
And then I root for the Titans.
Well, you're talking to 2 Lions fans, so we feel you. We are always rooting for our fantasy teams.
The Titans haven't been bad, so we've improved. If you're Lions fans, I'll just go fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's why we're DFS guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything to do on Saturdays. I mean, with Tennessee sucking so bad, I can't do anything on Saturday.
My Saturdays are good up until the college football championship game. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I live 15 minutes from campus, but it's great for 11 weeks.
Well, now UFC comes on every Saturday night now, so I just got UFC. I watch UFC every Saturday night. That's what I do now because of COVID and stuff. I guess they just put it on every weekend, so I just watch the fights every weekend.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the one last thing I think I have, so Tony and I are both Lions fans, but we're also both left-handed. So we like to ask the guests that we have on if they are left or right-handed.
No, I'm normal. I'm right-handed.
We're abnormal for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt. I picked that up. All right, guys. Enjoyed it. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to go eat some dinner that's been sitting over here for about an hour.
Thank you so much.
Anybody want some ribs and
hey, it looks like it's worth waiting for too.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Can't wait.
Yeah, we appreciate the time. Thank you. And anytime you need to promote anything, if you want to come on back on, we open invite, sir.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.